Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. We've got a lot of news to go over today in the world of Palantir. A couple of headlines. The first one that I want to talk about is Alex Karp just made a very special and important list among the future leaders of AI. Time magazine put out their Time 100 list today, and this 100 lists are the most influential people in the world of AI. If we go to the overall list right here, they have a couple of different sections to the list. So they have leaders, innovators, shapers, thinkers, and then a couple of other categories. Well, those are the four categories, and then they have everyone in there. So there's four categories: leaders, innovators, shapers, and thinkers. Alex Karp, CEO of Palantir Technologies, ended up making the leaders category, which makes sense, in my opinion, at least, because he is one of the leaders in AI. So as you can see, some of the people on this list, we have Sam Altman, obviously the CEO of OpenAI, the person who has made ChatGPT go mainstream. We have Elon Musk, founder of xAI, and obviously everything they're doing with Tesla and FSD, it makes sense for him to be there. And then you've got little old Alex Karp, co-founder and CEO of a small company called Palantir, in the list with all of these other big dogs. You got Mark Andreessen, one of the best venture capitalists in the world, Greg Bachman, co-founder and president of OpenAI. A lot of really special people, the COO of Google's DeepMind. And then you got Palantir. Even the guy who made a company called Hugging Face, which just raised at a $4.5 billion valuation, a relatively small startup in the AI space, but growing rapidly, he made the leaders list of the Time 100 AI leaders. And, this is a company that's relatively new to the AI space in terms of getting its mainstream just recognition. So the fact that he's on this list means that this industry is moving incredibly rapidly, incredibly quick, and Time decided to pick people that they thought were actually innovating in the space and that were doing things that are timely today. Alex Karp is on the list. Let's read a little bit of what they had to say, and then we'll go deeper into some other stuff. For 2 decades, the brash CEO of Palantir has courted U.S. government agencies to win secretive and often controversial contracts. His company, named after the mystical Seeing Stones in Lord of the Rings, has sold its data mining tools to clients including immigration and customs enforcements, i.e. ICE, the FBI, U.S. Army, CIA, and any other Western intelligence agencies. Alex Karp's insistence that American technology companies have an obligation to support the U.S. government has often upset investors and some employees. We're never high on the popularity list, he says. But now, Karp, who's 55, believes that the rising fears about China's AI ambitions and the role of major technology firms in Ukraine's fight against Russia are nudging the industry his way. He says the first shot of the AI revolution was actually when people saw its implementation on the battlefield. Who was the first CEO of a major Western company to visit Ukraine after Russia's invasion and meet with Ukraine President Volodymyr Zelensky, talking about Alex Karp. With tech giants like Google, Microsoft, Amazon joining the West's mobilization against the Russian invasion, the sentiment has changed, he said. This is something where we need to galvanize across the country. They go a little bit more deeper here around Karp's life and some of the criticism Palantir has received as he's been CEO. Nonetheless, Alex Karp has made the list for the Time Most 100 Influential People of AI. And I do want to remind, Time did a pretty substantive investigative piece back on July 10th around Palantir's role in Ukraine. So it makes sense that Time is putting Alex Karp on the list for the top 100 most influential leaders when it comes to artificial intelligence, because they've deeply studied what Palantir is doing in Ukraine and specifically how AI is shaping the battlefield when it comes to Ukraine's plight against Russia. Now, the main point of analysis here before we get to the next headline is this is really important because a lot of times it seems like Palantir gets ousted by the media when it comes to these discussions of AI. I mean, I think there was a Barron's article today. I didn't have a chance to fully go into it, but they said the quote was, Palantir, comma, a relatively new player in the AI space, comma. And it's just like whoever was reading the article had no idea what they were writing about, right? It's like, it's to the point where I don't even think they're trying to be mean. They just genuinely don't know. And so the mainstream media understanding of Palantir as an AI player, even though in 2022, as per Gartner, Palantir was the largest company in the world that sold AI software, but below them was Microsoft. They are an AI player and they've been in AI for a long time. That's why whenever anyone asks Karp about AI on stages, he starts laughing because he's like, there's a lot of types of AI, but we've been doing AI for a long time. So them getting this recognition by Time is very important. Time is very different from the New York Times. Time is different from BuzzFeed. Time is different from the Washington Post. Time is not your average blog. Time is one of the most iconic media organizations in the world, even if their reach in terms of their distribution is not what it was back in 2010 when I used to get a Time magazine at my door every Friday because my mom got the subscription. They are still a respected brand. Mark Benioff bought the company for $190 million back in 2018. Mark Benioff, the CEO of Salesforce. They took off the paywall. Now it's just fully ad supported, right? So like no one has to actually pay to achieve the content. So they've still remained a pretty iconic brand in terms of its credibility and legitimacy because they don't do random hit pieces. They don't do like these, salacious stories. They actually care about real journalism. They just haven't been able to become, a mega big company because tech companies have kind of destroyed the journalism industry. But nonetheless, getting recognized by Time still matters and is incredibly important in my opinion. Having said that, I want to show two things before we get to our next headline right here. Alex Karp meeting with the Defense Minister of Finland. He writes today, technology and security are increasingly intertwined. Today, I met with Dr. Alexander Karp, the CEO of Palantir Technologies. We had an insightful discussion on the European security situation and how emerging technologies can be used to support both NATO and Ukraine. Finland joined NATO in April of 2023. So 5 months later, after them joining NATO, the Minister of Defense is meeting with none other than Palantir CEO, not C3AI, not Databricks, not Snowflake, not a slight any of those companies. I'm just saying, for some reason, Alex Karp seems to be getting his foot into these meetings, talking with some of the most influential, important people in the world that are going to make the monetary decision on whether or not to procure software to be able to defend themselves. NATO is obviously a massive, massive market for Palantir, and these discussions in 2023, I believe, can materialize in contracts in years to come, just like discussions with the UK Ministry of Defense started years ago. And Palantir last December got a $91 million deal from the UK Ministry of Defense, and that's because they were talking for many years before they were able to get that contract. I think the exact same thing, whether that's an S-curve or whatever type of curve it may be for governmental revenue growth via NATO, is going to happen for Palantir. It's just a question of when, and Karp is getting his foot in the door in order to be able to do that. Another proof point of this is yesterday, Alex Karp met also with the head of state at Estonia. So this is a video right here. Karp comes in and meets with the head of state discussing medicine, medical technologies, healthcare technologies, energy technologies, and defense technologies. He's there with Lewis Mosley. You can see who's walking with him, who's the head of Palantir in the United Kingdom, who is also one of the key players for them to be able to procure this NHS contract. And they're all sitting here with the head of state of Estonia discussing, potential defense technology sales and software. And this meeting itself could be a $50 to $100 million meeting that we're having right here. And the key point here, and the last thing after I go through one more headline that I'm going to put at the end of this video, is a 4-minute clip of me talking with Sachin. A lot of people know Sachin in the Palantir community. His entire US portfolio is in Palantir stock. He made a really good point yesterday saying, these meetings are not coincidental. There are very few B2B enterprise software companies. It's easy for Elon Musk to go meet with everybody, A, because he's Elon Musk, and B, because he's making freaking cars, right? The whole world needs cars. It's different for B2B enterprise software companies to be meeting with these incredibly important heads of state to potentially discuss procuring their type of software. It means that very few companies and very few CEOs have the ability to meet with these heads of state because they just don't have the product, right? They don't have something like a Gotham that they can sell to these countries. But also these countries might not want to meet with them because they're not intrigued by anything they're doing. Palantir being on the battlefield with Ukraine, even if it was for nothing in terms of monetary value, even if it was purely free, and we never see a dime of that, these meetings, I believe, are a direct result of these heads of states being like, we should probably meet the guy. We should probably meet the guy. And when you meet the guy and he's charismatic enough for you to like the guy, then you might end up paying the guy. And that is a big bull case for Palantir. Now, last headline I want to get to. This broke literally, it's 1:46 when I'm recording this. This broke at 1:21, so 20 minutes before I came on to making this video. We have IBM, Palantir are going to join AI safeguard effort pushed by Biden. So President Joe Biden made an agreement with Microsoft and Google back in July to put trust and safety at the center of the most powerful AI systems, basically making sure that, look, when we're implementing AI on a countrywide scale, we're actually looking towards trust and safety to make sure that there's no existential threats to humanity when we build AI. Now, companies including IBM, Palantir, Adobe, and Salesforce are going to join President Joe Biden's voluntary commitments on AI as the White House seeks to expand its efforts to shape the new technology without waiting on Congress. Basically, Joe Biden wants companies to actually step up to the challenge and be able to help them implement AI in a safe way without any type of official legislation going on. So this came out just 20 minutes ago. The Biden administration is also planning to share the voluntary commitments with other countries in upcoming discussions about AI at the UN General Assembly and a UK AI summit in November, according to another person familiar with the strategy. This is incredibly important. And the reason it's important is because Palantir needs to be in these discussions. If you're talking about the most important AI companies in the world, if your CEO is the leader of one of the most important revolutions we've had in the history of technology, which is AI, as per Time magazine, your company needs to be in these meetings, you need to be on these lists, and you need to be integrated into the fabric of what the administration, from a political perspective, especially if they get reelected again, is trying to do, because not only may you be able to get some contracts from that, but you need to make sure that decisions that are being made helps your company. This is why Sam Altman and Sundar Pichai and Satya Nadella are constantly going to Congress and the White House. I mean, I think they don't want to always, just make the trip to DC. They probably have a lot better things to do, but they're there because they know to protect their bottom line, they need to make sure the regulations that are imposed need to actually benefit them. I mean, imagine today Joe Biden comes out and says, I'm unilaterally stopping all AI progress and development. That would hurt Palantir, obviously, right? That's why Alex Karp has been saying, hey, with Russia and China, we can't do that. On top of that, Karp has constantly been saying, look, you need to spend more of the defense budget on software versus hardware. President Joe Biden, if he has his ear, if he has someone's ear in terms of the DoD and the White House that is actually going to take him seriously, imagine another percent, which is another $30 billion is allocated to software spend when it comes to defense technology. How much of that money could potentially go to Palantir? This is why it's important for them to be on these lists, be part of the conversation, and ultimately be integrated into everything that's going on in regards to AI at the White House. So those are the news updates for the day. Very happy that Palantir's Alex Karp is on the Time 100 leaders list when it comes to most influential people for AI. You can enjoy this 4-minute clip of Sachin and I talking about why Karp is meeting with these heads of state, why he's so important, and ultimately why he's one of the most influential people in the world of AI. Thank you guys for listening and watching. Hope you enjoyed. I'll see you in the next one. This was Alex Karp today meeting with the Prime Minister of Estonia. And I just thought this video was just so cool because there's not many CEOs that are just shaking hands with these heads of states. The conversation was about medical, defense, healthcare, and energy solutions for the country of Estonia. Any thoughts you have when you see Alex Karp meeting with these heads of states and kind of what you think overall about where you think that governmental business really can go through over the next 10 years?
So I think, so again, as an outside in view, like first when I see that why somebody is even invited to meet any head of state, like we saw Alex Karp went to see Zelensky. Okay, that means, and especially in a time when there is a very significant conflict ongoing. Okay, the only reason a head of a state will meet to any CEO if they have a strategic proposal or advantage in hand. Okay, we saw in Malaysia, Datu Kanwar went to engage with Elon Musk because there is a plan. Okay, we have seen like Indian Prime Minister when in 2015. I mean, like he was in US. He actually went to see Tesla factory. Okay, so
right.
It's very clear that when a senior leader of any company is engaging with a CEO, that means they are looking for some longer term solutions or longer term. Okay, and since then you can see like India and Elon Musk, now they are converging on a solution that how it is going to be. India is modifying their policy of dropping, at least reducing import duties on EVs if somebody is going for manufacturing. Tesla, in a way, quasi committed that they will put something in. So thing is like whenever a CEO is meeting a leader, like it doesn't matter which country it is. So it is not immediate sale, but it is building something which is going to be a very big pipeline in coming to future if it works out. Okay, the question is now is like when I talk about Elon is building something physical. Okay, in which is not easy. Okay, so people want Elon to be present. Every country wants, despite I mean, if you see Twitter world, Elon is like Darth Vader. But if you see the real world, everybody wants to be that. Okay, this is
the hero.
I want. He's the hero. So the thing is like now, this guy is building software. So the question is like why somebody wants to give a same kind of treatment to a software company. It's not like even like, for example, if it is Satya Nadella, okay, in Windows and he controls almost all the PC world. If it is Tim Cook, okay, there is a software, but there is a lot of hardware component come with that. He is a pure enterprise kind of a software player. And you'll be surprised that I don't see any example of a pure enterprise CEO meeting head of state. Okay, yeah. What it is telling is that that whatever they do and whatever they provide, the country thinks that it will give them a strategic edge. And what strategic edge they are looking the strategic edge in how they exploit and protect their data and how to deploy AI whether be it's defense, whether be it's health purposes, whether be it's for the implementation of data regulatory. So there is an open view about this company, and eventually it will create some business for them. So it is positive. I don't see Siebel going to meet these kind of people. I don't. So yeah,
Yeah.
I think it's positive.